Hey, this is Rob Anspach, and welcome back to another edition of eHeroes. Now, I know a lot of you guys out there and gals are frustrated with Facebook and ads, and sometimes you just, you feel like you need that swift kick in the ads. Well, I'm going to bring in the chief ads kicker, Amanda Robinson. And so, Amanda, I'm glad you're here because we all need that kick.
Thank you so much. I've never been called the chief ads kicker, but I think I like that. And I think I might need to adopt that title. That's incredible. Thank you.
Now, I mean, in reality, you go by the digital gal, but I think chief ads kicker is works just as good.
I love it.
Yeah, let's entertain the audience and tell them how the digital gal came about.
How the digital gal came about. I really put me right on the spot there. It was, you and I were just talking before recording about how I was a different business name before, and I was an entrepreneur and, just doing my thing, really good on the Facebook ad side of things, really good with helping people in that regard. And then when I decided I wanted to start growing the business, I realized that, I was just going against the grain. I was trying to build a business that had, future to it, that it could grow, and then I could, eventually exit out of the business in the future. And it wasn't until I finally embraced the fact that this business is me. The digital gal is me. My personality, my style of teaching, my complete overwhelming passion for helping business entrepreneurs untangle the insanity of Facebook advertising. I'm good at it. I love it, but it's my personality that drives that forward. So embracing the fact that I am my business, I am my brand, I am the digital gal. So as soon as I leaned into that and branded everything, I know if you're listening to this on a podcast, you can't see the fact that all my branding is high heels and pink and, swift kick in the ads. It's got like impact to it. And it clicked, it works, people get it. And it has completely changed the face of the business and changed the face of how I do business. So that's sort of how the digital gal evolved.
Yeah, a lot of my listeners know that I have this, love-hate relationship with social media. I mean, I've written books about social media, but lately, social media, especially Facebook, it seems like it's going through this evolution where they don't give a crap about customers. They're going to take your money and you're going to overspend on ads very quickly. And then you'll be left with, what did I just give Facebook?
Well, and so part of what I teach and train is that it takes a lot of time. So Facebook and Instagram advertising, unfortunately, is still the best location for small businesses and folks who have smaller, more conservative budgets to work with. It's still the best starting point, and it's still the most effective place, even though it feels like you're playing a giant game of Donkey Kong where they keep throwing hurdles down at you. And the more you do it, the bigger the hurdles get. So yes, it is complicated. It has become so much more complex and complicated over the years. I mean, when I first started with Facebook advertising, it was literally as simple as clicking a button to spend a little bit of money and getting a huge amount of results. Now it almost feels like you need a PhD to understand how to navigate the Facebook advertising platform alone, let alone understand the strategy, understand the algorithm, understand when you get your results from Facebook, are those good results? Are those bad? Is that an average cost? Is that too high? How do I make improvements? It's become so complex that I don't blame any business owner for shying away from it. But at the same time, we still gravitate right back to it because, I mean, if you look at Google ads are absolutely effective, but you need a good solid budget to approach it. So for those with more conservative budgets, those that are starting out on the online advertising side, we're still married to the platforms of Facebook and Instagram. So that's where I step in to help just make it a little bit easier for the folks that really hate social media, hate online advertising. They don't want to do this, and they just need somebody to show them how to do it quickly, effectively, and efficiently in a capacity where they don't have to hire an expert at top dollars and top rates. I mean, if you try to outsource this to an agency, most agencies just pump you into a conveyor belt system, right, where they're not providing a custom solution. The custom solutions, they cost money, and a lot of small businesses don't have the bandwidth for that. So to be able to provide people with an outlet to be able to help teach you quickly, get you up and running efficiently, and help you understand how much money this is going to cost for your budget and how to do it in a way that's going to get you results over time, but that's the key. It's
Yeah.
time. You're
Yeah.
not going to jump on Facebook ads and have results tomorrow. It's going to be 3 months minimum, 6 months before you're really starting to feel the effects of it. And then by the time you're a year in and you've got some solid audiences that you've built up, you understand what's working, what's not, and it becomes a lot less intimidating. So
Yeah.
I feel for you. I feel
Yeah.
for you.
You know, and I think the frustration is that you know, especially entrepreneurs who don't have a big budget, what I call a Snickers bar budget. It's very tiny, and you know, they think they can do it themselves, or they hire someone to do it, and they don't understand their audience.
Yes.
So they say, well, you know, I want to reach this geographic area, people that spend this and do this, and well, a lot of those options Facebook took away.
Yes.
So now you're like, well, okay, do I just throw it out there and see what sticks? Or
Well,
is there a method to the madness?
one of the effective things that I didn't even realize until more recently is that, yeah, Facebook ads might not work for everybody to the capacity that you think they're going to, but they can still be incredibly effective at helping you define your audience. So I do work with a lot of clients who are first-time Facebook advertisers. They come in, they have a concept of who they think their audience is, but it's not until we actually get in, start running some ad spend and looking at the data, analyzing the results before we can really clearly see that, you know what? You thought that your age range was 25 to 65 females who are single. And it turns out it's 65-year-old married women who are your sweet spot right there. And it's not until we really get in, dig through the data and start to see that. So then over time, even though, yes, the ads that we ran together may not have led to a massive bumper increase in sales, what we did do, though, is we collected a lot of data, really got a better forensic understanding of your audience. And now we can translate that into your marketing materials. We can translate that into your Google ads. We can translate that into other aspects of your advertising and marketing. So Facebook ads, a lot of people have an expectation that I pump money into the system and it's supposed to give me a return on ad spend on the other end. Not necessarily. Facebook ads are one tool in your entire tackle box that are contributing to all of your marketing efforts. And it is a fantastic entry point to capture people's attention span, get them introduced to your brand, and get you on their radar. And then the rest of your marketing can take over and do the rest of the heavy lifting, whether that's your email list, whether that's your website, whether that is your Google ads or any other forms of advertising and marketing that you do. So Facebook advertising is a key component. I've got other clients where when we dial down the Facebook ad spend, the rest of the ecosystem starts to suffer. Then everything starts to dip. Then we dial the ads back up, even though we can't attribute those ads in particular directly to sales. We can definitely attribute it to the entire ecosystem. So there's a lot of opportunity there for small businesses, but consistency is definitely the key, sticking with it and rolling with these Donkey Kong punches that Facebook is throwing at us constantly.
Well, you know, I like how you say, you know, forensic data, and I think it's very key to understand what your forensic data is, and you know, that maybe that first month or maybe that first 2 months of ad spend is designed to understand, you know, or build up an audience so you can understand where, you know, you have to focus on. You know, I know a lot of entrepreneurs just they after 2 months they're like, I can't afford this.
So when I work with clients full time, and you can, if you're not trying to hire an expert and work with an expert and you're trying to do this for yourself, you can still mirror this process. But when I work with a client, I usually say we're a minimum 3 months before we start to see any action happen. Month one is literally just going in, making sure all of the plumbing and wiring is hooked up correctly with your Facebook ad account and talking to your ad account, talking to your ad spend, talking to your Facebook page properly, and getting in there and setting our baseline for what, you know, how much does a click cost to get people to click from Facebook to your website? Is it $1? Is it 50 cents? Is it 18 cents? Where's your baseline?
Right.
So month one is just the wiring and setting up and the plumbing. Month two is starting to run a bunch of experiments. So little spurts of ads here and there where we're going to test different ad creative. We're going to test different audiences. We're going to test different types of ads. And we're going to see what gets a little more of a heartbeat, a little more of a response. And then once we navigate through that and understand that, your ads are heavy delivering to Canada when we want them heavy delivering to the United States. Okay, let's tweak that, tweak those campaigns. Okay, we're heavy delivering to a male population and we don't sell to males. We're a female focused product. So, okay, let's tweak those ads. And so that's month 2, is sort of running those experiments. And then month 3 is really starting to dial in and go, okay, let's start shifting the majority of our ad spend into the areas that we know are providing results for us. And those results, another area where entrepreneurs or business owners get a little bit lost in Facebook ads, is that you might have a wide range of audience that you do business with. But there's always going to be sort of a hot spot or a sweet spot of people that you do the majority of business with. So if you say, well, yeah, some people who are 25 years old buy my product or do business with me, but the majority of them are 45 years old. We're going to tighten up. We're going to hyper focus your Facebook advertising targeting on the people who are most likely to do business with you. We're not trying to alienate and take it away from people who could do business with you. But if I only have $500 to spend in the month, I'm not going to spread it super thin across everybody who might do business with me. I'm just going straight in for exactly where I know we're going to get response.
Right.
So you don't have to be everywhere all the time. You don't have to be effective in a full, robust marketing strategy if you don't have the budget to support it. So we're going to use that month 2 data that we collect to really start dialing in our month 3 ad spend and then start to scale it up.
Right.
So
I know you're in British Columbia. That's in Canada,
Yep.
for all you guys who don't know what a map is. But how does the thinking compared up in Canada versus United States? Because I know some customs are a little different and some holidays are a little different. But when it comes to thinking across borders, how does that play into Facebook ads?
Oh man, it is. It's quite different. So Facebook advertising targeting, for one, we have different limitations on who we can target in Canada compared to the States. So in the States, you can target by income level. In Canada, we cannot. There's just different limitations. Our audience sizes are a fraction of what the United States audience sizes are. So if I have a client that is targeting North America, and I'm building ads for them, and we want to separate out the countries separately because Facebook will heavy deliver all of that ad budget to the lowest cost area. So we might have all of that budget getting soaked up by Canada when you do the majority of your sales in the United States. Canada's cheaper to reach. It doesn't cost as much. The United States is way more expensive to reach. So we usually split them out separately. But when I build my audiences for the United States, I can build them, I can get very granular, I can get very focused with those audiences. But then when I try to copy that and translate that into Canada, my audience sizes are way too minuscule and ineffective. So then I have to get creative and target differently. So it really is building out completely separate campaigns for the different countries to sell the same product or the same service. And there are some nuances and complexities to it. But you learn over time. You learn over time what works for you. But the real key in all of this, start broad. So run an ad to Canada and US lumped in together and see what's working for you, but then go back and look at the results.
Right.
Where the real key component to making Facebook ads work for you is learning how to understand the results that go beyond Facebook saying, hey, we got you 100 clicks.
Yeah.
So that's what I teach in week 4 of the 4-week Facebook ads bootcamp, which actually just wrapped up yesterday for this run. We have the next run coming up in February. But the 4th week is going through in-depth understanding how to read the results of your Facebook ads and to understand what's working, what's not, where you can make improvements. Because if you nail down how to create an ad, you get that solidly locked in. If you nail down your audiences and targeting, and then if you really work out a strategy that matches your budget and you get everything working great and you go forth and you're doing Facebook ads, it all means nothing if you're not looking at those results and realizing that, oh, all of our ads have been delivering, all of our video ads have been delivering in one of the placements that's basically a forced video of you interrupting other people's videos. Yeah. Or all of our ads, all of our clicks are taking place in the audience network, which is a series of apps and games. So all these clicks are people trying to exit off of your ad that's interrupting their game. Mm-hmm. So all of these results mean nothing if you don't give context to it and if you don't look at it in relation to where you actually do business and where your success comes from.
So,
So
basically, everybody has these devices, these iPhones, smartphones, Samsung, whatever you have. So we're going through our Facebook, and this completely out of the blue ad shows up that doesn't match anything based on our personality. And you're like, what the? And so basically, probably they're building an audience,
yeah.
is my understanding.
Yeah, so there's some tactics behind that, and it makes why I was laughing there is that when you say an ad comes up and it's completely irrelevant to you as a person, that can have a lot to do with the iOS update, iOS 14, where Apple is now asking users, hey, do you want to allow these third-party apps to track you? And most people, I'd say the majority, like 90%, are clicking no, do not track me for the purpose of advertising. Well, guess what? It doesn't mean you're seeing less ads. It doesn't mean you're going to get less Facebook ads. It means you're going to get the same volume of Facebook ads, but now they're not targeted to you. So now you're going to be getting ads for baby formula or wedding dresses or everything that's completely irrelevant. And by the way, my Facebook ads think that I am a fashionable male. I keep getting lots of men's clothing and watches, and it looks great. But yeah, but then on the flip side of that, if you are a business owner and you want to audience build, there is a tactic that is a low cost way of doing it, which is, so we essentially say, when you're first starting out, everything is a cold audience. Cold meaning they don't know you. They've never seen you in a newsfeed. They've never seen your ads before. They don't know you exist online or on Facebook. So when you first get out in front of people, your ads are reaching a cold audience. Now, if those people that are seeing this ad take an action on that ad, if they are watching the video for more than 3 seconds, if they are clicking the ... see more to read the full text that you have in there, if they're clicking on an image to enlarge it, if they're doing anything that is a proactive engagement on that ad, they are now they are now on your audience of people who have either engaged with your page or an audience of people who have watched your videos. So goal number one, if you're first starting out with Facebook advertising, is you want to grow those warm audiences of people who have engaged with you or watched your videos, because those audiences we can then retarget at a lower cost over time. And that's a greater indication of how interested somebody is in your brand. So rather than just continuing to throw a ton of ad dollars out there to cold audiences only, we want to build up those warm audiences and then retarget those audiences. Now, that's a strategy for, I would say, the majority of small businesses. If you are a large volume e-commerce, if you're selling t-shirts that someone is either going to love or hate, you can just target cold audiences all day long and roll in the bank money. There's different tactics depending on what kind of business you are, but for the majority of us, we need to get out there and we need to audience build. And over time, the quality of those audiences will absolutely come in handy for you. So I've been working with a real estate team for 7 years, I want to say. And the quality of their audiences that we've built up over time are indestructible. So when Facebook has rolled out new rules, such as the special ads category. So if you are in real estate and you want to advertise on Facebook, you have to check off this special ads category that strips out, I would say, 80% of your targeting abilities on the back end of Facebook ads. Well, with this client, we've built up high quality audiences over several years. So even though we still have to check off that special ad category, even though it strips out all of our cold audience targeting options that we would love to go after, it doesn't matter because we have a beautiful warm audience built up over time that we continue to reach over and over and over. And they are our target audience. The quality is so high that while other realtors are suffering, these guys are doing fantastic. So it's the consistency over time and sticking with it and having a little bit of faith definitely works in your favor.
And I think consistency is the one thing that impatient entrepreneurs don't do. And they don't stick to a set budget. They'll say, well, I'm going to devote 200 hours this month and 500 next month and maybe 300 the next. No, you got to have the same amount. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
And I am so guilty of this because I don't always practice what I preach. But I also look at my own ad account. I'm like, well, I am the training ground. I'm like, if I'm gonna try something, I'm gonna mess it up in my account before I roll it out into anybody else's account. But yeah, it's the consistency is key. If you are not spending consistently, then your audiences are not going to grow consistently, and your audiences decay over time.
Oh, yeah.
So your website visitors, for example, you can only retarget them for up to 6 months. People who engage with your page, you can only retarget them for up to 365 days. But if you are targeting your Facebook ads to page engagers, it is less likely that Facebook is going to even circulate that into the feed of someone who engaged with you 364 days ago. So there is some time sensitivity related to your audiences. And so that consistency, for example, when the pandemic first set in, marketing was the first thing to get pulled from all of these companies. So everyone dialed back all of their marketing spend. Well, if you're dialing back all your marketing spend and you're not doing Facebook ads anymore, your audience sizes are going to start to dwindle, and you're going to feel the effects of that, not today, not tomorrow, a year from now.
Right.
And that's one of the, so when advertisers ramp back up again, and then that annual time comes around and they're like, my Facebook ads just are not working the way they used to, we can backtrack and say, well, let's match that up to your ad spend. Where were you in ad spend this time last year? Where are your audience is right now? So it does have an impact.
Especially here in the States, we have Black Friday after Thanksgiving. I don't know if you have it up there in Canada, but every single business, I must have gotten 1,000 emails saying, hey, we're here, come shop with us. I'm like, well, you haven't emailed me the rest of the year, you just email me now. It's the same concept with ads. As soon as you stop, your audience forgets about you. So when you try to start back up, you're starting from scratch, and it's kind of the same concept with the Black Friday thing is after a year of not getting anything from you, and you finally send me an email, what are the chances of me shopping with you? Zero.
Well, that's where, again, it goes to staying relevant and staying top of mind. So let's use a dental office as an example. If there is a dentist that is advertising 365 days of the year, they are showing up in your Facebook newsfeed, they're showing up over in your Instagram feed, and they're giving you educational content to just keep on your radar all year long. You might not necessarily need a dentist today or tomorrow or 6 months from now, but I'll tell you, when you do need a dentist and you don't have one, then the one who has been getting in front of you in your newsfeed in front of you all year long is going to have a much better chance at landing that business and landing that customer lifetime value compared to the dental office down the street who doesn't advertise until, oh, look, it's December and you need to use up your benefits. So we're going to run a couple Facebook ads. Yeah.
So what do you prefer, Facebook or Instagram?
Facebook, hands down, but
always a but.
But it depends on the business. Some businesses have a lot greater success on Instagram, and we can make Instagram ads work quite well. And Instagram stories ads have a lot of personality to them. And now we've got a placement inside Instagram Reels. So I find that Instagram continues to innovate, and it is a lot of fun for the brands that have success there.
Right.
Facebook is more like the workhorse. It's like the tried, tested, and true. It is the go-to spot. It's where I feel that everybody should have a toehold in advertising in there, no matter what, even if it's a trickle, even if you're spending $1 a day and just getting yourself out there constantly. I think Facebook is. I'm on Facebook 24/7. My job, it's my office. I work on the computer with Facebook open inside several client ad accounts, inside my Swift Kick in the Ads membership, helping to support other entrepreneurs who are running into all sorts of little hurdles on Facebook. So Facebook is my world, and I'll admit, I do not always love it. I second guess my career choices all the time, but at the end of the day, I've been doing this for so long that it's like a giant puzzle. And when somebody runs into a jam or a tangle and doesn't know how to, they're getting an error and they don't know how to troubleshoot it. Usually I've seen it before and I understand how it connects into the whole system, and I can backwards reverse engineer exactly to pinpoint where their issue is and get them an answer very quickly. And that's, as much as sometimes I don't love the platform, as much as it has been nothing but a nightmare this past year with ad rejections, account shutdowns, everything. It still is my go-to spot where if somebody runs into an issue, I'm like, oh, I know how to solve that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can help you, and I can help you quickly. So it's still my go-to platform.
I have a problem with their scheduler. It's so wonky. I still prefer to use a third party scheduler and just be done with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's
It's
just me. It's just other people love it.
Facebook for scheduling has been extraordinarily buggy, with them rolling out Creator Studio and now rolling out Business Suite. And so the way I describe Facebook and Instagram right now, or over this past year, is that Facebook is renovating. They know they have fundamental flaws, and it is not easy for a small business to run business across Facebook's suite of apps without having to log into several different places and look at several different screens. So they're consolidating it. They are renovating. They're building this new palace that is Business Suite to try and make it easier. But Facebook has so many components to it, from Creator Studio to Ads Manager to their commerce platform. There's so many moving pieces that they're basically building the new palace and then renovating other areas and slowly moving bits and components into the new Business Suite, or rewiring and plumbing it and connecting it all in the back end. But it's happening slowly over time. So all of us right now are suffering through their renovations. Like it's like sitting in a construction zone constantly. Things are constantly moving, things are constantly changing, and things aren't working the way they traditionally have. So that's causing a lot of stress for small businesses. And that's why with the boot camp that I rerun it 4 times a year. So every 3 months, I rerun the same boot camp and I teach the same things. Why? And I teach it live. I teach it that way because Facebook changes and renovates everything so often that as I'm teaching somebody how to do Facebook ads, I'm giving you a mountain of information. I'm hitting you with way too much for you to absorb all at once in those 4 weeks. But if you retake it as you need it, so as you're actually hands-on doing your own ads, you do get to the point where you're like, okay, I understand, I've been making some ads, it's working, I've got the targeting. Now it's time to focus on that strategy. Like, how much money should I be spending in the strategy? Well, now you can just pop back in and retake the upcoming strategy session with the boot camp. And you're not taking the one from 3 months ago where all of your menu screens look completely different, or the strategy has changed because Facebook all of a sudden has changed the amount of data we can access with our pixels, and now they're trying to focus on first party data advertising tactics, not relying on third party data. So it changes, the strategy changes, the menu screens change, everything changes. And that's why in my mission to help business owners make it a little bit easier, it's I found that the key to success is being able to keep the training as up to date and current as possible. So this is my solution, and I've been doing this for 3 years with that particular boot camp, and it's been I just had somebody in the boot camp yesterday who said this is their 4th time going through it, and it's such a reinforcement of all of the changes and helping you stay current, helping you keep up with it, because even I have trouble keeping up with it, and I'm in it every day.
Yeah, it can be frustrating. And now you also have a membership side of everything. You got the boot camp that does this 4 times a year, but what's the membership do?
So the membership is the Swift Kick in the Ads membership. And that's actually how you get into the boot camp. You sign up to become a member at swiftkickintheads.com. But the membership is essentially you get into a Facebook group. We do open office hours twice a week. So if you run into any of those snags and hurdles and you just want to get on a video call with somebody to screen share and get help on the spot, that's one of the things we do. We do additional teaching and training. And it's not just Facebook ads. We also touch on Google ads and Google Data Studio and all the different ways that all of these tactics and tricks can help you increase your advertising efforts if you're a small business, or if you're supporting other clients with ads. And then we have, so it's the teaching and the training. We've got the open office hours, plus it's a spot where you can just ask any of your questions and get them answered related to ads. So it's been we have a really great group of people that we've built up over the last couple of years. And it's one of those things where I want to build a community slowly with the right people. And I know right away if the wrong person joins, and I know they're not going to last very long. But once we get the right people that join, they stay in for well over a year. And it's been great.
What do you look for in a client? I mean, I have this avatar that I look for in a client, and sometimes say, well, okay, 3 out of the 4 things they exemplify, and then I bring them on and they're just such a pain in the ass. I got to let them go real quick. How do you do things?
So what I'm looking for in clients before I will take on a new client, and I only take on, honestly, I handle very few full-time clients. I only handle a small roster because I'm only one person.
Yeah.
That's why I built the membership, and that's why I have the teaching and training component of the business so that I can help one to many. But as far as full-time clients, when I'm bringing on a client, there's a criteria of you have to have an established business, as in whatever you're selling, you have to have made sales on it already before you start approaching Facebook ads. And it might seem silly, but I've got lots of people who have an idea, or they're launching a business, or they've just started up. They're a startup business and they have this product and they know that people will want to buy it. But there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. For example, if you are just built yourself a new website, well, you have no domain authority, you have no ranking, it's so much harder for us to work with a brand new website. There are going to be technical issues. Your load time might be 5 seconds for it to load. Well, if I'm running Facebook ads to that, people are abandoning the click before the page even loads. And now I'm getting conflicting data from Facebook saying, hey, we got you 100 clicks. Meanwhile, Google Analytics is like, yeah, we only saw 25 of them come through. So there are a lot of things behind the scenes. I want to know that the business owner can actually make sales, because Facebook ads are really, really great at one thing. They're great at amplifying. And what that means, they're either going to amplify what's working, or they're going to amplify what's not working, what's broken. And it can be quite effective actually using Facebook ads to find out where you have bottlenecks in your whole system. We can identify them quickly, get them fixed, and move forward. But I don't want to be the person responsible for helping you troubleshoot your business. I want to be the person to help you amplify when you're ready for it. So having a business owner who is already making confirmed sales, who already has an idea of their client avatar, of who they want to target, and we can fine tune it and dial it in using your Facebook targeting and advertising and the data. But you need to have a good, solid understanding of what that looks like before you come to somebody like me. That's not to say that you're not ready for Facebook advertising. It's not to say that you can't start learning this yourself and start getting into it. It's to say that for someone like myself, I want to make you successful. And I don't want you to pay me how much I'm going to ask you to pay me to just figure out if this is going to work or not. So that's how I know, if you're the right client or not. And then on top of that, having someone who I work directly with the business owner or the person who is making the spending decisions and has the authority to make the spending decisions. And I work with one person. I don't like working with a team because things get passed around. And at the end of the day, I am responsible for your results. And so if I'm not given the tools to be able to make you successful, then everybody points the fingers at the end of the day and says, well, I don't know, the ads aren't working. And meanwhile, okay, well, now we're facing delays because we're working with a copywriter. Now we've got tweaks to the landing page. And now we've got, been running Facebook ads and spending, hundreds of dollars only to find out that our URL is now broken because somebody was working on it last night. All of those things, I've been through it, lived through it, experienced it, but I absolutely prefer to work with a motivated business owner who is also passionately excited about doing Facebook ads. And I'm not there to teach you why you need to do Facebook ads. That's about 4 steps before you need somebody like me. But I'll teach you. If you're in those categories, that's why I built Swift Kicking the Ads. That's why I've got the membership. That's where I have the place for you to learn and grow. And it's not an expensive membership, and it's a safe place for you to get comfortable with it before you need somebody like me.
And see, this is what makes Amanda an e-hero. She's willing to give and give and give, but you gotta really want to improve your business and not be a startup. Then go to her website, Swift Kicking the Ads, where you'll get to meet the chief ads kicker.
I'm going to start using that. I think that's fabulous.
So this is Rob Anspach, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.